if you're not learning and embracing artificial intelligence through ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Elon Musk's Gronk, or any of the AI tools, you're going to get left in the dust.
That is your Achilles heel. Until you get hungry enough, until those numbers bother you, you're either not going to understand it or you're going to try it and it's not going to come so easy to you. And then you're going to be like, oh man, I'm just going to keep on doing my little 180. Hey, what's happening, everyone? This is L.A. Williams, Vice President with Dealer Synergy and the Blind Phone Master. Man, I'm the co-creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. And you know who I got across from me? The one and only Mr. Sean V. Bradley, CSP. What's happening, Sean?
What's up, brother? Damn, it's 2026 and it's the place to be, man. I feel smarter. I feel wiser. I feel more experienced. How about you, LA?
We in the mix. It's 2026. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So we're going to open up the show straight up in a unique way. We're going to go right into going through a lot of questions from our people because some of these questions were really good, no?
Yeah, that was from some phenomenal stuff. I was like, okay, yeah, y'all thinking. And, I think it's just so cool that we have the Facebook group and then we also have the podcast. But I also think it's interesting how many people who listen to the podcast are not a part of the Facebook group. You are not getting the full experience just by listening to the podcast. And I think the podcast is great, but there's more, right? You can get everyday access, right, inside the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group. So make sure that you are a part of that. And then if you're in the Facebook group, of course, we just got to tell folks about the podcast. What we'll do is when we answer their questions, Griff, we can drop a comment and let them know that the answer was on the podcast. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, 100%. So let me just kind of go through this, folks. I have spoken to over 550 NADA and NCM 20 groups. I also created the first and only internet sales 20 group almost 20 years ago. And so the reason why 20 groups are so popular from NADA or NCM is because they're mastermind groups. I mean, if you think about it, our industry is very, very complex. We are the number one automotive market in the world. And we got to think about it that people literally fly from all over planet Earth to NADA so they could find out what the world's leading automotive economy is doing, how it's doing. So we set trends globally. So when you are an owner or a GM of a dealership and you get to partner with 19 other dealers or GMs that are in the same situation as you. If you are a Ford franchise or a Toyota franchise, you're in a Ford or you're in a Toyota 20 group. If you're a special finance dealership or you are focusing on, on acquisitions, you could be in a special finance 20 group or an acquisition 20 group. Or in my case, I'm the moderator of the internet sales 20 group. You would literally be in a 20 group with 19 other dealers that are trying to perfect and master their internet numbers. Think about that for a second. You have the ability to collaborate, to synergize, to ask questions, to brainstorm on a myriad of things, whether it's about variable ops, it's about fixed operations, it's about marketing, advertising, branding, it's about showroom sales, internet sales, BDC, digital marketing, AI. You have that network. And with the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook, it's like the group is like a 20 group on steroids. There are literally 29,850 plus members. There's almost 30,000 dealer principals, GMs, GSMs, F&I managers, sales managers, internet directors, BDC directors, CRM managers, advertising managers, marketing managers, salespeople, BDC reps, and everything else that you could imagine that's in the group. So you could ask a ton of questions. LA, you want to get into that or you want to pay some bills first?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and pay some bills first real quick, just because I know we got some folks that want to share some things with our audience. So we're going to let them go ahead and do that. And we'll be right back on the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast answering your questions.
If you're looking for the absolute best automotive sales training from the #1 millionaire car salesman in the world, Cody Carter, who sold 1,408 units in 2023 and made $1 $1.2 million in personal income, make sure you sign up for Cody's 24/7 video on-demand training, tracking, and testing certification program, Sell Like Cody. That's right, Sell Like Cody is on Bradley On Demand. Cody covers absolutely everything in his successful selling process. If you want to learn how to sell more cars, more often, and more profitably, enroll now at bradleyondemand.com or contact Dealer Synergy today.
Thank you for calling Doing It Wrong Motors. How can I help you?
I was looking at the tan 2023 GMC Terrain. You guys still have that?
Oh, sorry. That vehicle's been sold.
Could this be happening at your dealership? Get the Dealer Synergy team to handle calls the right way. We'll gather all the information, drop it in the CRM, set a solid appointment with notes, so all you have to do is sell. Do yourself a favor and go to dealersynergy.com for a free demo.
And no more of this burning through phone-ups nonsense.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. And as promised, we are going to be answering questions live from the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. I believe, from the podcast, from the Facebook group. I believe that Sean already has his screen shared. So, man, we're going to get into these questions. Sean, you ready?
Absolutely. All right. So the first question I've got right here. So I went to recent activities, and it's basically, hey, everyone, I work in California. This is an anonymous member. I work in California and sell Hyundai. I usually am always a 20-car guy. Took a break from sales about a year and came back last month. First month back was pretty slow, but finished top 2 with 21 units. Store has about 20 salespeople. I sold multiple warranties for $7K. Always give finance leg. Don't get paid on back end. LOL. Got paid this morning and was $4,200 after taxes. I'll get $2,000 draw money and from my manufacturer, as well as around $1,500 with a 1099 form. So $6,200 plus untaxed $1,500 from manufacturer with a whopping 224 hours this month. Schedule sucks, but it is what it is. We usually bill 2 days a week. Is this what sales is like everywhere? This is the only store I have sold cars at. Any insight is greatly appreciated. Thank you. All right. So now, okay, first of all, he works in California and he sells Hyundais. California is one of the top automotive markets in the country. Hyundai is a great, vehicle, and it's a great vehicle for California. He said he's usually a 20-car guy, and he's been back. He finished in the top 2 with 21 units. First thing I'm going to say, though, is only making $6,200 for 21 units. That seems kind of light, honestly, especially that some of that money is from the OEM. Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of hours. And that's a lot of car sales to only be making about $6,200. I would say, again, what might be better here is if you were able to post or DM me your pay plan. If you DM me your pay plan, I could turn around and identify how you can best maximize your pay plan. But it does seem a little bit light for the amount of work that you're doing. LA, what do you think?
Yeah, that's one of the things you always say is work your pay plan, because here's the thing. If you're just, doing what everybody else is doing, you're just selling the cars, you don't really, have an idea of how to properly work your game plan. You could be doing something but if you did one other thing, right, it could be a drop in the bucket of a couple $1,000s. I've seen it where, people hit, let's just say, you sold 21, but your bonus is, you get a bonus at 22 or, something like that. I mean, we don't really know. So what we got to do is we got to find out what that is, and we will show you, okay, hey, if you focus on these things, you'll be able to get the income that you're really looking for versus just, doing whatever it is that you're doing. I don't know if there's also a mix between pre-owned and new. Like, where's the bumps, right? Where's the spiffs? Where's all the extra money at? Because that's what you want to tap into. That's how folks are really making the 100,000+ is because they pay attention to where the bumps come, where the pay bumps are. And that's what you want to do.
But I will say, though, LA, what I do like about this is that, he's leveraging, or I don't know if it's he or she, I'm just assuming, like they're leveraging the manufacturer spin money. So here's what he said. So he's making his money, but I also saw that he sold 2 warranties for $7,000, but he's not getting paid on them. So I'm going to ask you why. Why are you going above and beyond, and not getting compensated on it. What I would say is what LA said is you got to understand your pay plan. That's the best advice I can give anybody, but especially you being a 20 car person, you are literally more than double what the average salesperson sells in the United States. I'm going to repeat that. The average salesperson sells less than 10 cars a month. And if you're at 21 cars, you are definitely more than double what the average salesperson has. So you should understand, how do you max your commissions? How do you max your pay plan? At what point do you start to stair step? Is it a volume bonus? Is it a gross bonus? Is it a volume and gross bonus for your core pay plan? Are there any age units? Are there any fast tracks? Are there any hat tricks? Because with that many, vehicles that you're selling, you might be able to stack one, delivery, and now you got a 3-car deal in one day. That's a hat trick. So again, that's what I mean by working your pay plan. If you don't disclose what your pay plan variables are, even for the OEM side of things, certain OEMs, they might be able to, there's a regular product certified, which gives you X amount of spin money. But if you get master product certified, there might be even more spin money, because you went through another layer of certification. I like that. That's a great question. I hope that helps. Next question is, does anyone else find it peculiar that car sales are declining now that dealerships seem so reliant on AI handling their customers? No, I don't find it peculiar at all. What I find is that AI is definitely doing a lot in our industry, as it is with the rest of the world, but that's not why sales are declining. Here's the reason why sales are declining, because for so many years, we didn't have to do shit. You didn't have to have any skills. You didn't have to train. You didn't have to negotiate. You didn't have to build value. All you needed was inventory. If you had cars, there weren't any rebates or incentives. It's like, do you want the car? Yes or no? No? All right, whatever. There's 10 other people that do. Move forward. You could sell cars at list or over list with impunity, and it didn't matter.
You're saying something, Sean, because that's the whole thing. It's like none of these tools, we always talk about tools, right? The tools is not what's going to sell the cars, right? So if you think about it, I mean, whatever people were doing, I know, Sean, you were selling cars back in the 90s and everything like that, right? Before there was the internet. Okay, but the internet is a tool now, right? Before there was a CRM, before you had that, it was what you said, like fax leads and, like just drawing with pencils and markers and all that kind of stuff. These are tools that allow you to execute your skills that much better, right? But here's the problem. If you never develop the skills, there is no tool that's going to, like people always say, oh, because of AI, we're going to get replaced by AI. No, if you're skilled, then what you learn how to do is you're going to learn how to use AI to complement your skills, right? And so that's what this thing is all about.
What LA just said was really righteous, guys. Look, I started selling cars in 1999, like in the late 90s, right? And when I started selling cars, the internet was just invented in the automotive industry. And the manufacturers were faxing internet leads to the dealerships because the dealers didn't have a CRM for years. A dealership didn't have like even access to the internet. So they would get the faxes. They would get internet leads. People would go to the manufacturer's website, they go online, and then the manufacturer would transfer those internet email leads into fax leads. And what LA said was true. We didn't have CRMs. We had paper desk logs. Try to imagine really long vertical log sheets that were like graph paper almost, and with lines, and then it tracked the ups, how many ups came in, how many went through the road to the sale, how many were on a demonstration drive, how many had a management TO, how many sales, etc. And we used to have to use, black Sharpies, red Sharpies, yellow highlighters, and that's what it was. And so when the internet was invented, it was like, oh my God, it's going to change the world. AI is not the reason why we're selling more or selling less. I believe 1000% is that the market has now adjusted to the closest it's been since pre-pandemic period as it relates to rebates and incentives. There's more inventory. Which means there's more competition. Once there's more inventory, there's more competition, the manufacturers are putting rebates and incentives to be able to incentivize to get people to, to stimulate them to buying cars. And once that happens, then dealerships are starting to race to the bottom discounting. So if your dealership and organization doesn't have a really strong value package proposition, which means a why buy for me message, if you can't clearly articulate what is different and better about your OEM, what is different and better about your dealership, different and better about you, do, you're not going to be able to sell cars. If you are not practice drilling and rehearsing your processes, your word tracks, your objections, your rebuttals, if you're not learning and embracing artificial intelligence through Chat GPT, Google Gemini, Elon Musk's Gronk, or any of the AI tools, you're going to get left in the dust. So next question is, the past 5 years, this is Justin Thomas. So we've got somebody that's not anonymous. Shout out to Justin Thomas. The past 5 years, I've delivered 180, 195 units a year. I'm okay with these numbers. They are the highest at our store. For 2026, I would be extremely happy hitting 200 or more at a Kia store, average 5 weeks off per year. How can I hit 200? I'm so close. Last few years, 90% of the deals are new finance deals, very little leasing. Thanks. Feel free to share your goals and your plans. Okay, what I'm going to say is this. This is an easy one. Okay, Justin, I hope you're listening. Okay, first and foremost, there's a reason why the average salesperson sells less than 10 units a month. The first reason is they're only triggering on 2 to 3 out of the 8 ways to sell. What that means is, at Dealer Synergy, we identify that there's 8 separate, unique, powerful ways to sell an automobile. Walk-in ups, B-backs, internet ups, phone ups, prior customers / orphan owners, service conversions, referrals, and the lost art of prospecting. So I'm going to say to you that, I'm almost positive that you are not averaging all 8 ways. You're not selling cars every month from all 8 ways. So if you want to break 200, start to figure out ways how to maximize walk-in, be-back, internet, phone, prior, referrals, service, the lost art of prospecting, etc. Right? You've got multiple ways to sell a car. Embrace them. Second thing I'm going to say to you is that not all leads are the same. You have a 65% closing ratio from prior customers and orphan owners. You've got a 70% closing ratio from service conversions, service opportunities, data mining, equity mining. And you mentioned leasing. Just because your store doesn't lease doesn't mean you shouldn't learn how to present a lease. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a lie. It is a blatant lie if you say that your market doesn't lease. No, your dealership is weak at leasing, or you're weak at leasing, because leasing is as strong as the dealership that's presenting it. Now, certain areas in the country, like down south, for example, Alabama, Georgia, for example, they're not huge with leasing. There might be a 10 to 20% lease penetration versus, like in the Northeast, there's a 70%. California could be like an 80 to 90% lease penetration. You've got to work on mastering leasing. You got to look at the trends. Success leaves clues. The number one salesperson in the world is Cody Carter. He sold 1,432 units last year. He sold 1,408 units the year before, and he's about to sell this year 1,600 units. And he will become, if he sells 1,600 units, think about that. You're trying to get to 200 units. This guy's selling 600. He's a leasing phenom. He sold 205 units in May 2025 with him and one assistant. His name's Cody Carter at Tustin Toyota in Orange County, California. He is a leasing machine. If you lease, think about it. You could get people into 36-month leases, which turns them faster. And then with a 6-month pull-ahead program, if Kia has a 3 to 6 month pull-ahead program, that means every 30 to 33 months, you could pull people out of the leases. You could make just as much gross, if not more. Plus, you could also bury certain inequities and things like that if you structure the lease properly. LA, what thoughts do you have?
Well, here's the thing. JT, you're not going to listen to a word Sean said, and it's because of what you wrote. You said you're okay with those numbers. I'm telling you, that is your Achilles heel until you get hungry enough, until those numbers bother you. Because you're just like, oh, it'd be nice to hit 200. No, until it's like deep down in your gut, you're like pissed off, right? That you only do 15 cars a month, right? You're like, but you got to be like, listen, I'm worth way more than that. And so what do I need to do? I need to actually put in the work. So everything that Sean said is 100% accurate, right? But what's going to happen is you're either not going to understand it or you're going to try it and it's not going to come so easy to you. And then you're going to be like, oh man, I'm just going to keep on doing my little 180. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what you got to do is you got to make a decision that you really like, you absolutely must, right? This is why Grant Cardone talks about the 10X rule, right? You got to have a thought process that, listen, like, even if you said 2X, right, which is not the mindset, right? But even if you said, hey, listen, I got to get I got to get the 300, I got to get the 360, right? I got to get from 180 to 360. Now, okay, fall short, right? You got to have that level. And I'm not talking like, because, sometimes when we say that stuff, people think like woo woo, all that. No, that's not it. It's just the overall mindset. It's that having something buried deep inside your gut that says something absolutely must change. It's all these people with these New Year's resolutions. They have, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And by March, the gym is completely empty because people thought it was hard, right? Sean says it all the time. Sean, how come people don't lift weights?
Because they're heavy.
You see what I'm saying? So to get to, 200, right, for you right now, that's heavy. But you think about if Cody Carter did 200, he'd throw up, right? I love how Cardi B says it. She talking about, she talking about something. If I did your numbers, I would hop out of plane. Suicide if I fall to far from the distance of you and I. Like, that's the thought. That's the mindset. You got to have that mindset. Once you have it, man, 200 is going to be nothing for you because you'll execute on what Sean just said.
100%. Okay, so we're going to go to the next one. Another anonymous one is, for your salespeople who have your own websites integrated with dealerships inventory, did you get permission from management, or how did the conversation go? All right, so here's the thing is, you have to have management's permission. So one of the websites is Build a Brand. Build a Brand, they will not turn on a website with inventory unless the dealership's got permission. And I don't know any website that can legally or ethically turn around and turn the dealership's inventory on without the dealer principal or GM's permission. Now, yes, you definitely should get the dealership's permission if you're going to use their inventory on your personal website. Now, do I think that you should have an issue? No, I think that any dealer principal or GM, that if you're being asked, should your salesperson have their own website? And if they have their own website, should they have access to your inventory? The answer should be, hell yeah. Absolutely, because what we want to do, folks, is we want to encourage our salespeople to actually treat car sales like their own business. Too many people are weaker than circus lemonade, or they haven't been trained properly, by their dealerships. And there's a lot of order takers. There's a lot of people that just respond to fresh ups or phone ups or internet ups, but there are very, very few true automotive sales professionals that know how to hunt, gather, and generate their own prospects. And if I'm a GM, or hell, even if I'm just a sales manager, right, I much rather have a salesperson that wants to invest in their self. I'd rather have a salesperson that's willing to put in the work and develop their own website, like a T Got Your Keys. So if you go to www.tgotyourkeys.com, that was Tiana Mick's website when she worked at Patriot Buick GMC. At 19 years old, she was averaging 20 plus units a month, but outgrossing people selling 25 and 30 units a month. So yeah, LA, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the conversation should be very easy, right? Because we're going to come across a question where these third-party vendors, right? They are showing the dealers inventory and all that kind of stuff like that. So if they can be on those websites, then why wouldn't they want their inventory on your website, and you actually work at the dealership, right? You're going to be promoting it and doing all that stuff. Now, unless you got some sort of legal, ethical, moral challenges and all that kind of, those are the only reasons why, a GM would question it. Outside of that, man, they're going to be like, of course, more places to sell cars. Oh, absolutely. We want it.
100%. So now, Dan Muths, Muths. Quick question for other dealers, lead ownership. Has anyone dealt with this before? I submitted a test lead on my own inventory through cars.com, responded to it afterward. I got 2 emails about other vehicles in my inventory. Then it was nonstop emails from cars.com platform advertising vehicles from competing dealerships, specifically listing from the 2 largest franchises in my area. Not a single thing about my dealership. I was told only this happens if a lead isn't responded to, but in this case it was. This is maddening. I'm paying for leads and they're being remarketed to my competitors. Question for the group: is this actually allowed? Is this buried in dealer contracts? Does anyone push back, and get the stop to receive credits? So here's what I'm going to say. Dan, it depends on the lead source provider. You got to understand first and foremost, cars.com is part of a conglomerate of newspapers. That's their DNA, is that they're pretty much just a digital newspaper, like a classified listing. They are labeled as an online classified. So you've got to understand that they are not a lead source provider, and they stick to it. That's almost one of their ninja rebuttals is, I'm not a lead source provider. We're an online classified. So what is the value that cars.com brings? And I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of cars.com at all, just for the record. And you guys should know that by now. But what they supposedly bring value is email leads. So there is some email leads, but they're an online classified. So they post your used car inventory. And so people could call you as a phone up through a cars.com phone number for any of the used cars. So A, they provide internet leads. B, they provide phone ups. C, they provide site links, VDPs or SRPs from their site to yours. Now, you are absolutely correct. They're going to take your inventory, whether you respond or not. Think about this. When you go to Amazon, it says, they'll say to you, hey, other people that have searched this item have searched this item. Or at Amazon or another website, they're going to say, hey, other people that have purchased this item have also looked at this item. When you go to Netflix, hey, people that watch these shows that you like also like these shows. So I don't like it. But the reality is it should also work for your benefit. Okay, what does that mean? That means that your direct competitor, if somebody has a car in their inventory and somebody looks at their car, not only is it going to serve up their car, but they too that prospect is going to get bombarded with leads from these other people that have similar vehicles in their inventory. So in your case, think about this. One of your competitors might have a car in stock that their prospect is looking at. But then, besides that car that they have, cars.com might serve up one of your cars. And here's where it is. Cars.com is not trying to cut your throat. It's not about you getting an unfair situation. It's about them making more money. If they could turn around and take your car and generate a lead off of that car, but then their algorithm could generate 2 or 3 more leads to people that might have similar interests, they're going to try to make as much money as they can on that lead. So instead of just making that $15 or $25 or whatever it is on that one lead, they could make $100 or $200 if they could figure out a way to generate prospects on multiple stuff. So here's what I would say. One is understand what you're getting. Is there a value in you paying cars.com? Are they promoting your inventory? Are they generating you leads? Are they generating you phone ups? Are they generating you site links, VDPs, and SRPs? If the answer is yes, go forward with them. Don't get intimidated because other people have got your lead. Who gives a shit? Because most people suck, right or wrong. Most people suck. Listen, no offense to Chrysler dealers, but a Chrysler 300 looks like a Phantom, like Cat Williams says, until what? Until a real Rolls-Royce Phantom pulls up. So for me, I never get mad or upset when other people have got the same leads that I got because they treat them like leads. I don't treat people like leads. I treat them what they are. I treat them like buyers. I love them. I respect them. I go hard for them. I spend more time with them. I cultivate them. I'm more patient. I'm more professional because they're not leads. They're buyers. LA, put something on that.
I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking as you were speaking. You're telling about how it works, right? And I think it's very important that we understand how it works. But man, if we would just not shy away from competition, right? If we would just understand, I know you're like, oh, but it was mine because it got submitted on my car and my. But listen, it really would polish you, right? It would say, hey, you know what? I got to step up my game. I understand they're getting other emails and all that kind of stuff, but come on, allow that to be noise, right? That's what it is. It's really, me, I'm an audio engineer, right? Allow that to be the white noise while you got that beautiful music playing, man. You gotta cut through and make it happen.
100%. So the next question is, who has a better system, Hammer or Podium? Podium. Dana, yes, and just ask.
That's easy.
It's easy. Listen, look, guys, I'm not even fronting. Podium's not even an active sponsor right now. You know what I mean? So I'm just being brutally honest. They are a multi-billion-dollar company. They have 110,000 clients, and they have 7,000 dealership clients. So that means they have 103,000 other clients outside the automotive industry. That's mind blowing. And then a lot of the people, that are on here saying podium for sure. So it's not even, a question. Next.
All right, hold on. So, Sean, before you ask the next question, man, I want us to be able to pay some bills. I got some folks that want to be able to say some things to our listeners here. I got to go do a class, but please, Sean, if you can continue, because you're killing it, man. Going through these questions, this is exactly what we need, man. It's such collaboration. So we're going to be right back. Well, he's going to be right back on the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast.
This has been the most in-depth training I've had in my lot of years in the car business.
We went from 60 cars to 156 cars a month in 3 months.
NAMAD, the entire Toyota Chicago region, as well as the top automotive groups like Koons, Lithia, and Norm Reeves have all used Bradley On Demand to train their team.
There's the most comprehensive training company I've seen, and they by far have the best support system.
Doing 50 cars a month, topped out at 80. I can tell you that the Bradley On-Demand training will get you to the next level.
And guess what? The world's #1 car salesman, Cody Carter, shares his exclusive strategies right here. You want his secrets? You gotta have Bradley On Demand. If you're still not enrolled in Bradley On Demand, you're missing out on the best virtual automotive training in the world. Enroll now or contact us for a free test drive of the platform today.
Hey everybody, this is SVB, and the place to be is the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. And the Blind Master had an exit. He's doing an academy class for our clients, so I'm gonna hold it down for the rest of the show. So I'm going through Serene Camel 2259. He said, so what do y'all get for Christmas bonuses? We get 150. So I guess it's a good question, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the dealership is bad to work for because you didn't get a huge bonus. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I've been in the industry for almost 30 years, and I've seen dealerships that are amazing do 0 Christmas bonuses, but they do a lot of other things throughout the year. And, they have an amazing pay plan. They have amazing this, they have amazing that. So, it doesn't really matter about a Christmas bonus. Then I've got people that have a big Christmas bonus, but they literally have, a shitty environment. They're getting tortured. They're working bell to bells. They're not making money and what have you. So I guess it's relative. It's like the pay plan question. I hate answering the pay plan question because it's more to it than that. But again, here's what I'll say. A bonus is something that's bonus. And if you already have a pay plan where you've got your core pay plan, your commissions, and then on top of that, you got spiffs, you've got OEM spins, you've got regular bonuses. And again, just having a Christmas bonus on top of that, whether it's $20 a car or it's $150 or it's $1,500, I mean, it's something that the ownership is doing out of the kindness of their heart that they don't have to do. So, I just want you guys to remember that I own a business, and, some of my bonuses are in the hundreds. Some of my bonuses are in the thousands. It depends how long you've worked for me, and it depends what role you have in the company. You know what I mean? But we're a small business to give, good bonuses, because we understand that, people have families and they've got stuff they want to do, and it's a kind gesture. And there's been times that, we've never not had a Christmas bonus, for the record, but there's times that, it was rough, like in the earlier stages of the company, but we still did it because we believe in it. But I think it's a good question, but I think it's a loaded question, right? All right, next one is from Charming Permission 7500. Your dealership is in shambles when your GM micromanages so hard that your desk managers are scared to make a deal happen. Give $500 on a trade, make a small discount, or even get a car fixed, getting an internal RO. what has this industry become? This is getting crazy. Worst part is the owner allows it and encourages this behavior. You know what? I got to say that I've seen some crazy things in my day, and that happens certain times. I got to say, there's we have situations at Dealer Synergy because we have thousands of car dealership clients. So, which baffles me, when a GM or a GSM or a sales manager says, my people don't want to train, or I can't get them to do that's not a people problem. That's a management problem. It all has to start from the owner, in my opinion. The dealer principal or the owner of the organization has got to set the temperature when it comes to culture, expectations, deliverables, accountability, etc. If the ownership doesn't set the culture and accountability reality, it's going to be chaos. You're going to have, controlled chaos. So I don't envy you in that situation. Next question is, what are some good books to read as a car consultant to help with communication better and others to help with selling? Okay, this is a great question. It depends. Okay, so with communications, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is one of the most powerful books that you can ever read, because it talks about the mental maturity continuum, that humans are in multiple categories, right? You have humans that are, you know, uh, visual thinkers, kinesthetic thinkers, auditory thinkers, hybrid thinkers, right? You've got humans that have different emotional maturity. Some people are dependent or codependent. Certain people are independent. And the nirvana that we're all striving for individually and as a team is interdependence. The other aspect is, because you're talking about communication. So 7 Habits by far is one of the most powerful books ever when it talks to communication. I mean, the 5th habit is so powerful. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. The 4th habit, think win-win. These are all gems for communication. Now, besides communication and things like that, then I would say, there's you don't need books. Just do some research on the science of communication. Once you understand that 55% of communication is visual perception and body language, or 38% of communication is sound and inflection, or only 7% of communication is text or email or the words that we use, that'll help you. What I will say is that there are some powerful resources that you can get in book format, but also workshop format. Toastmasters, oh my God, for you as a communicator is one of the best things that you can do is Toastmasters. Just Google whatever the town that you live in. Like I live in Medford, New Jersey. So I would go to Google and type in Medford, New Jersey Toastmasters or South Jersey Toastmasters, or, maybe Philadelphia or Philly Toastmasters, because I'm only like 45 minutes away from Philadelphia. And it will show me all the different places. And I think it's like $100 a year. I mean, it's very, very cheap. It's very inexpensive to be able to go to a Toastmasters training. And when you go there, you could buy Toastmasters books, or you could go online and just Google Toastmasters workshop or Toastmasters textbooks or Toastmasters workbooks. But Toastmasters helps you with everything in communication, your vocabulary, your ad-libbing, your freestyling, your articulation. It is, metaphorically speaking, like a gym for professional speakers and communicators. Then you've got the National Speakers Association, the NSA. There's local chapters, whatever city or state you're in. Like there's a New Jersey chapter, there's a Philadelphia chapter of the NSA, and then there's a national chapter. Then there's different books on, sales. Like, again, there's sales books that are out there. Like they're outside the automotive industry, like Jeffrey Gitmer, for example, or Brian Tracy. These are some good people. Zig Ziglar, not the Alpha Dog Jim Ziglar, him too, but like Zig Ziglar. And then there's the abundance mindset. The mindset books are going to be like Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, or Rhonda Byrne, The Secret, or, The Richest Man in Babylon, another great book. Those are three great books for mindset. My book, I wrote an international best-selling book about search engine optimization and video search engine optimization called Win the Game of Googleopoly. So Googleopoly, like Monopoly, but Googleopoly book is an international bestseller. I would definitely look at the Googleopoly book. So hopefully that helped you with some really good book ideas and stuff like that. Okay, the next question from an anonymous member is Subaru Toyota. I'm in Austin, Texas, and I have the chance to either sell Subarus or Toyotas. Which is a better brand for volume and gross? I'm currently a salesman at an independent buyer pay here. So again, it's a loaded question. I'm going to say Toyota because Toyota is the number one selling vehicle in the United States. The F-150 was the number one selling vehicle for 47 straight years. Then in 2025, this year, it was blown away by the Toyota RAV. So after 47 straight years, the Toyota RAV4 now is the number one selling vehicle in the United States. So it can't hurt selling the number one vehicle. Plus, they've got incredible resale value. They're an incredible brand on the internet. Don't get me wrong, Subaru is a good brand, but it's a more niche brand with a fickle type of audience, and it doesn't have a fraction of the volume potential or resources that Toyota has. The number one selling salesperson in the world, Cody Carter, is a Toyota salesperson. So I hope that answers the question. But I'm going to tell you, I much rather pick a Subaru dealership that had a great pay plan, invested in training and resources for the sales professional. They focus on all 8 ways to sell than a crappy Toyota dealership. So again, it's relative. If you're just asking franchise to franchise, not even close, Toyota, Subaru. But again, with that being said, it's more about the franchise that you're choosing to work with, because you might work at a 10-time better Subaru franchise in Austin than you would the than you would the Toyota one in Austin. So I hope that helps. Treg Smith, what's the balance between following up on current leads and phone prospecting for new leads? Sometimes I'll spend my time without a customer calling my prospects I've already had. I never get a chance to add to my pipeline. I don't make time to. Okay, then you just said it right there, Treg. You know what I mean? That's a very, very good question. What I would say is you need to react to the opportunities first. So this is where car sales is very difficult. Okay, this is why time maximization, time management, and work-life balance is really important. You are a public figure now. I don't know if anybody's ever explained that, but you're a community figure. If you want the community to support you, you've got to support the community. So you got to understand that prospecting doesn't mean making phone calls. It means getting immersed in your community. You should be, immersed in all of the sports teams for your city or your town, especially like on the little league and the Pee Wee level, from first grade to high school, right? From first grade to the end of middle school, there's sports, there's tackle football, there's baseball, there's wrestling, there's hockey, there's volleyball, there's all these sports. And then obviously in high school, you've got varsity and you got JV. And so you should be involved in any of the school activities, any of the charities, the ASPCA, the volunteering, the cancer stuff, the Toys for Tots, the Salvation Army. There's so many different things that you could get involved in, the ASPCA, autism, whatever, right? Think about that, for example. The more that you get involved in the community, you could prospect. A couple things I would say, in my opinion, every salesperson should go on their own to get car safety seats certified. Improperly installed car safety seats are one of the top killers for kids that are, I think, between 4 and 10 years old. I mean, can you imagine being the only car seat certified inspector? Then you could start doing clinics at daycare centers, or you could start doing clinics at your dealership. You know how you have those safety checks? You know how you have like the DWI safety check? Well, you could do a car safety seat check. There's ways that you could get insurance waivers or insurance riders so it doesn't put the dealership at risk in any way, shape, or form. It's only 100% prospecting power. So whether you're developing an immersion in there, that's one thing, right? You got to also know that, that you should be prospecting after hours, on weekends, and your days off. Now, in the other aspect, I started by saying time maximization. You should come into work working your CRM, working first. If you're on the floor, the first thing you should do when you get into the dealership is work your unsold showroom traffic leads, your B-back leads that are in your CRM. After you handle all your B-back leads, any of your engaged or live conversations that you are working, whether they're prospects or clients, anybody you have in a live conversation, a live email dialogue, a live chat dialogue, a live email dialogue, or you're playing phone tag with that person, try to reach out to, any live people. Then from there, I would go through my CRM action plan, whether it's for sold customers or dead customers or phone ups or internet leads, etc. So I know that might feel like a lot of time, but it's really not. I mean, you have 8 to 12 hours a day, depending if you have any bell to bells. Focus on going through your leads, but carve out at least an hour a day. That's it. Even if you're only working 8 hours a day, take lunch and breaks out, you're still working 7 hours a day. To turn around and take out an hour a day is not a lot. Just dedicate 1 hour to prospecting. So you could work on social media, referrals, prior customers, orphan owners, advertising, marketing, or community immersion. So I hope that helps everybody. This is Sean V. Bradley, and my friend L.A. Williams, the co-host, had to leave a little bit early to go do what he had to do. So I want to just let you guys know that it was a pleasure. We're back. It's 2026. I hope you got a lot of value of me just answering questions in our Facebook group, our Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group. So if you are a listener and you're not in the group, and if you are an owner or a manager and your entire dealership isn't in the Millionaire Car Salesman group, why? Are you kidding me? I've got 30,000 dealers, managers, automotive professionals, BDC reps that are in the Millionaire Car Salesman group, and they're all asking each other questions, sharing best practices, sharing who the pirate vendors are and the people that are shady to stay away from them. It is a very, very powerful resource completely for free to all my listeners. So this is how powerful it is. All my paying clients that are paying me millions and millions of dollars to learn from me, I force them into these groups. Why? Because I want my paying clients with my other paying clients so they could network, they could synergize, they could, fact check, they could collaborate, they could network, they could share each other's, questions and answers and help each other as a village. You heard that phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes more than just one person to help build and cultivate quality automotive professionals. So I really encourage you to maximize all that you can. Again, this is Sean V. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy and the co-creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group and the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. See you next week.
Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. If you liked it, you're going to love Bradley On Demand. Bradley On Demand is the most advanced virtual training, tracking, testing, and certification platform. What does that mean? It's an online university. And if you like this information here, we have hundreds and hundreds of advanced videos, step by step, on how to help you sell more cars more often and more profitably. So sign up now.